What's up YouTube, I'm Guy, and today I want to talk about gray market dealers. Very recently, the Paul Thorpe Watch Dealer YouTube channel posted a video entitled The True Meaning of Gray Market Watch Dealers. And frankly, I couldn't disagree more with the message in that video. You'll find a link to his commentary in the description down below. And while I disagree with Paul on this topic very much, I think he makes great and informative videos, and I highly encourage you to go over to his channel and check it out and subscribe. That said, today we just aren't seeing eye to eye. Among other things, in his video, Paul said that the consumer who buys and in turn flips a watch for an immediate profit to an independent, non-authorized watch dealer is in fact the real gray market dealer.
I want to talk about this term grey dealer, grey market dealer, because it's a term that is so overused right across the world, and it's another flippant remark that people make without really understanding what a grey market dealer is. And there's a big difference between my definition of a grey market dealer, a true grey market dealer, and a lot of people's perceptions. A grey market dealer is usually the middleman in between the authorised dealer and the independent dealer. And now that we would call a flipper. It's the so-called genuine customer who's actually a flipper, who's actually a real grey market dealer, that then sells it to a watch dealer who pays an exorbitant amount of money for that watch over list price.
Look, I understand where Paul is coming from on this. He was a watch dealer for a number of years, and he views the phrase gray market dealer as a pejorative term. To call something gray implies a level of illegitimacy in his mind. But the term gray market doesn't mean illegitimate at all. A gray market refers to the trade of a commodity through distribution channels that are not authorized by the original manufacturer. That's it. A flipper or a consumer who purchases a watch with the intent to sell it for a quick profit isn't a dealer. He is to a degree participating in the gray market, and depending on who you ask, he might be an but that's an entirely different debate. The point is, the occasional watch flipper could never be considered a dealer. A dealer is in the business of selling watches professionally. He has a client list and an inventory, probably has a storefront and a website, maybe employs a staff, and sells watches as a primary means of making an income. But listen, that's okay. It's not a disparaging term, and it doesn't imply anything illegal. It implies exactly what it means. Just because it's a few shades closer to black on the color wheel doesn't mean that it's a parallel to the black market. Now here's where Paul goes off the rails a little bit, and it kind of got my eyes rolling.
Now we can look at any example, but let's take a Rolex Daytona, a stainless steel Rolex Daytona, £9,550 out of the door at the authorised dealers, straight down the road to some poor suspecting soul who is an honest to goodness watch dealer. £15,000, £16,000, £17,000, £18,000. The guy's just doubled his money in half an hour. That's great.
Forgive me if my heart doesn't bleed for the poor, unsuspecting, honest-to-goodness watch dealer being offered a Rolex Daytona from a consumer who just bought it 30 minutes ago from an AD. I mean, really, on what planet is the independent dealer buying this Daytona in this scenario being taken advantage of? This whole situation is a clusterfuck, and the only ones suffering are the people who actually want to buy the watches for their own personal enjoyment. And if I'm being honest, everyone from Rolex to the authorized dealer to the flipper and the gray dealer and even the consumers willing to pay wildly high prices over retail are all, to one degree or another, at fault. So gray market dealers get their inventory primarily from two sources: the consumer, or flippers as Paul pointed out, or directly from authorized dealers who use gray market as a means to offload inventory that they can't sell, along with their more desirable watches and package deals. I've also spoken to people with many years of experience in watch sales who claim that manufacturers themselves will in some cases offload pallets of unsold watches to gray market dealers, but I don't expect that that's the most common scenario, and almost certainly not with brands like Rolex. So what do I think of gray market dealers? I'm talking about the real ones, like Joe Mashop, David S.W., and even by his own admission, Paul, when he was still a watch dealer.
You could aim that description at me more when I was active as a watch dealer, because I would be selling pre-owned unworn watches and much later watches that were almost new.
They're entitled to do anything they want, so long as they're not breaking any laws. Most people, they're out to make a quick buck, and to make a buck, you unfortunately usually have to do that at someone else's expense. So I accept the reality of the situation. Life's not fair, but I don't have to like it. I have no doubt that Paul was an honorable and well-trusted watch dealer. But you can't get caught up in the language. Just because gray sounds like it's closer to black than it does white doesn't change the reality of the situation. If I was holding an apple and insisted on calling it an orange, guess what? I'd still be wrong. By the sounds of it, the watch industry lost a true asset when Paul retired. But by sharing his experience with us, in some ways we've gained more. It's nice to hear stories like this from a person with principles.
Any watch you care to mention in the world from any brand, if it's hot, I get offered a lot, and that's a fact. The bottom line is I won't pay the money. And I won't pay the money because, firstly, I'm out of the business. But in any case, even if I was in the business, I'm still not paying the money. I'm not going to give someone 18 grand for a watch that I know they've just bought the day before for 9.5. I think it's greedy, and I think that is great.
Look, that's not gray. It's just brown. Yeah, it's shitty. If a dealer were to buy and then resells that watch, he's a gray dealer. And if that independent dealer also has arrangements with authorized dealers, or even manufacturers themselves, to purchase watches directly, they are, without a doubt, a gray market dealer. Okay guys, that's gonna wrap this one up for today. Like I said, I like Paul's videos and I think he adds a lot of value to the watch collector community. But in this case, I couldn't disagree with him more. You can't change or ignore language just because you don't like the way it sounds. You're just interpreting it wrong. Nevertheless, I highly encourage you to check out his channel and watch his videos. I know I'll continue to do so in the future. Thanks to everyone that's tuned in to watch today's Watch Talk topic. I appreciate it. Thanks to all my supporters on Patreon, the guys that have been using my Amazon and my Audible affiliate links, and of course to all of my subscribers. You guys are making what I do here on YouTube possible. Until the next one, bye now.